owning the communication platform, right? Your Facebook group. Why is it so valuable? Why is it so valuable owning a newspaper, right? When you have to pay to have the newspaper made, you have to pay for the writers, you have to pay for the editors, you have to pay to get the newspapers to people, right? It's valuable because you control people's attention, right? You control the distribution. People realized that long before there was the internet, which is why newspaper companies and newspaper moguls were so wealthy, because people would pay to advertise because they knew that they could get in front of the most eyeballs and have the most the most distribution and the most attention. The internet has leveled the playing field even further and made it possible for people to create massive distribution channels and control a massive amount of attention without all of the distribution and overhead and expense required to create a newspaper company with all those employees and like a printing press and things like that. And so remember, your Facebook group is one of your communication mediums. You see there's 98,147 people in this group. There's posts all day, every day, of people who want to learn and want to do things. And when we make posts and we make group stories, we get exposed to thousands and thousands of people, and we control the platform, right? If spammers come in, we ban them. If people try to solicit or try to advertise their services without talking to us, we ban them. And when you control the communication medium, you control where people hang out and talk about a subject, and it's incredibly, incredibly valuable. And so your momentum is going to be slow at first, right? It's going to build exponentially. But the compound interest that you're earning, right, by adding and interacting with your target audience one person at a time inside your group, is going to grow slowly and slowly and slowly until you reach the point of exponential return, which is where your audience is going to explode. Remember, Peter Thiel, billionaire and co-founder of PayPal, said that going from 0 to 1,000 per month is significantly harder than going from 1,000 to 10,000 per month, even though it's a much larger percentage jump. And why is that, right? It's because growth isn't linear, it's exponential. Your daily actions build and grow and stack, and there's a break-even point where the compound interest you've been accumulating, for all of the daily actions, pays you back really farther, beyond kind of what your wildest dreams are going to even be. And we've said this multiple times, but again, it's because we're trying to really build the idea and cement it in your mind. Because once you understand and believe and think that way yourself, you really unlock your true potential. And when people are interested in you, right, other people by default become interested in you, right? It's the sole people. Sometimes it's the only reason people are even interested in you is because other people are. And think about it like this, right? P.T. Barnum puts it best. Nothing attracts a crowd like a crowd. If you walk down the street and you see a bunch of people, all looking at something or looking up at the sky, you're going to look, right? Because you want to know what those people are looking at. And when you start to build momentum, you reach a critical mass and everybody starts talking about you, then everybody starts talking about you because everybody's talking about you, right? Or people are interested in you because everybody's interested in you. And that's the point that you want to reach, where you really start to take over the market. And if you have just one person following you, right, outside your family and friends, you instantly have more followers than 99% of people on earth. And you're creating content, right? If you're creating content, you're no longer just an observer, right? Or a watcher like everyone else. You are a creator. And that is the only place that you want to be, right? And your Facebook groups, it's the platform. Facebook groups are so important, and owning the community where people in your niche communicate gives you such a massive advantage. And below, we're going to talk about ways to get your initial kind of touch points and how you actually grow your Facebook group from scratch, right? Because what happens is you get really valuable feedback, about what people really want, what their pain is, right? How you can add the most value to them, and how you can personally help them related to your specific niche. And as always, guys, getting people's email addresses is a huge key to success as well. And so getting people into different communication mediums, the sooner that I can really hammer that point home, the better. The more communication mediums that you have, right? A communication medium is just a piece of technology or a means by which you can communicate. A Facebook group is a communication medium. Email is a different communication medium. YouTube subscribers. The more communication mediums that you have someone in, the more omnipresence you have, and the more successful you'll be, right? Because if you can't communicate with people, you have nothing. Right? Even if you get seen by 1 million people, right? If you don't have a way to communicate another point to them or sell them something in the future or, tell them some other thing that you want them to know, right? You have nothing. And there's a lot of YouTubers who had huge subscriber lists, right? They had these massive followings and then they just disappeared, right? And why did that happen? It's because they didn't capture those people into multiple communication mediums. Sometimes the YouTube algorithm will just, stop showing love to a specific creator about a specific subject, right? And what happens when that creator doesn't have anybody's emails? They don't have anybody in ManyChat. They don't have anybody in Facebook groups. They don't have any form of community outside just one platform. And when you rely on just one platform, you lose, right? Because what happens if Instagram shuts you down or Facebook, decides to ban your group? You have to have people in multiple different communication mediums. That's the only way that you can really mitigate the risk and protect yourself in case anything crazy ever happens, right? And I'm gonna repeat this for a third time for emphasis. If you can't communicate with people inside of communication mediums, you have nothing, right? You have to add value and you have to help people for free to grow your followership, but you also have to incentivize them to give you their email, join your Facebook groups, subscribe to your YouTube, right? And we're gonna teach you exactly how to do that in the most efficient way, right? So what you want to do is you want to create a Facebook group ultra relevant to your specific niche. For example, if you're making a course on how to build a real estate empire with Airbnb, right, you'd want to make a Facebook group about that, and you could call it something like B&B Mastery, right? And I personally call my audience the ninjas. And so what I did was I created this group called FBA Ninjas, right? You notice that I don't call it Amazon FBA Ninjas, and we'll talk about that in a second. And this is a closed group. So we're going to show you actually inside the group settings right now. This is a group name, FBA Ninjas, and you can see that if we scroll down here, that this is a closed group, right? Which means anybody can find the group and see who runs it. Only members can see who's in it and what they post. What this means is if somebody wants to join, they have to request entry, right? And when they request entry, we ask them a question that basically says, drop your email below for our free Amazon cheat sheet. Right, and we do a couple other things now that the group's so large. But when you're first starting, right, what I recommend is not even having a question. And then once you get to 1,000 members in your group, then I would ask a question here and say, drop your email below to get our free Amazon cheat sheet. But if you have, a super valuable group and you want to start sooner, it's okay. Because what you're going to see is people will give you their email, right? I would say 90% or more of people give me their email, and that's just how it is, right? People are happy to do it. They want value for free, and that's just the way it is. And so I call my group the FBA Ninjas, right? It's simple, it's to the point. Amazon FBA. Most people know what FBA is if they're interested in Amazon FBA. And it doesn't include the word Amazon because the word Amazon is trademarked, right? And so Facebook at any time could shut your account or your group down for trademark infringement. And when you're building a group and it's small, it's probably not going to be on anybody's radar. But once you have a group close to 100,000 people, don't risk it, right? Don't put yourself at risk. Just name it something that isn't trademarked, like FBA or like B&B if you're doing an Airbnb business, right? There's just no reason. So make a play on words like Zon Ninjas or FBA Ninjas or whatever the name of your audience is, MVPs, stars, heroes, whatever, right? And you're going to see a lot of other groups that have the word Amazon in them, but it doesn't matter because I'm not trying to play the game. I don't want to put my group at risk. Just because other people are doing something doesn't mean that you should do it too. All it takes is some grumpy Amazon lawyer, coming along and looking at these groups one day and trying to, take everybody down. So what I like to do when I create my group, and again, to create a group, I'm not going to show every little thing, but literally all you have to do is from your main area here, you can just go to groups, and then you can go to create group up here, facebook.com/groups. And you can name it, have it close, name your group, add a couple of friends. And so what I like to do is I like to post 5 super valuable things into the Facebook group immediately, right? It can be completely brand new, just right when you make it. You don't even have to have the articles yourself. I would just type in, Amazon FBA. And I would look and try to find some actual blog posts or, videos. And I would post them inside of my group. How to sell on Amazon FBA for beginners, 17 common problems, right? How I sold $43.99 in my first 30 days. I would post all that stuff into my particular group just so it's not empty, right? You don't want to have it empty. You just want to have it like something, at least some amount of content, even if you're just getting started. What I like to do then is I want to make my description, right? And I want to make my announcement. And so what I would recommend is you just copy and paste my announcement, and you change your own Instagram, you change your own Facebook page, right? You change your own Snapchat and all the different, means, whatever you want up here is the most important. Subscribe to your YouTube channel, things like that. I would literally copy and paste it, erase the stuff that's not relevant, and then I would make sure to add my own links for all of the announcement stuff. And then I would do the same thing right here. I would come into the description, I would copy it, paste it into my own Facebook group, right? And then I would change things one by one. We've tested all of this. This works really well with these particular emojis. With the start here, it attracts people's attention, right? Similarly in the description, these little emojis, they really attract people's attention, right? At first, you don't need to make this video. If you have some student results right here, this is one of my students that made almost $512,000 in just 1 month from Amazon. So I like to put two of my best students right here, and then that's really all you have to set up, right? And you want to get a cover photo made as well. It's very, very easy to do that. All you need to do is go to Fiverr.com or Upwork and literally just type in Facebook cover photo, right? And there's going to be a bunch of people here that are going to make Facebook cover photos. I'm just going to go to best selling here. You see this guy has over 1,000 5-star reviews, right? He'll design a professional Facebook cover photo for you, right? For $10. Super easy, right? Gin mentality. And so the next thing that you want to do is you want to make sure that you're updating this as you start to make more, of the things, right? Like right away, you're not going to have an evergreen webinar, right? In the next section, we're going to teach you how to make your cheat sheet. So that might be the first thing that you want to have in your announcement bar, right? And remember, to make an announcement post, all you have to do is find any post, come up here, and then go to make announcement. This one is an announcement, so I can't make it an announcement because it already is. And you want to pin it to the top, right? But you're going to be constantly updating your announcement. You're going to be constantly updating your description. So get familiar with it, right? And once you make your cheat sheet in the section directly after this one, once you have that link, add it here because your cheat sheet is meant to capture people's emails. So if people are in your Facebook group, that means you already have them in your Facebook group, and then you want to capture their email, right? And then once you capture their email, maybe you want them to subscribe to your YouTube, or you want them to follow you on Instagram. The more communication mediums you have people in, the more better off you're going to be in the long run, right? And I already mentioned once you have over 1,000 members, you want to ask a question. And remember, asking a question is very simple to do. All you come into is more, edit group settings. And then in the group settings, there's something called ask questions. And then you can say, just drop your email below to get our free Amazon cheat sheet. But remember, you don't have to remember any of this. Like you can literally just come and join one of my groups like FBA Ninjas, and you can see literally what I do. Remember, never reinvent the wheel. Look at people who've been doing it longer than you, who've really mastered it, and then just emulate that and make it better, right? And so also, I create a private group. So FBA Ninjas is my public group, and then I have a private group for my actual students, right? And so the private group is called the Zon Ninja Exclusive Student / Family Group, and it's also black belts, right? Like black belts like ninjas. So you can see that there's almost 3,500 members in here, all of which who've bought the $1,000 course. And this number, like the number of people who've actually gotten the course is probably closer to 5,000 or 6,000. But not everybody joins the group, and that's just as illogical as that is, it's just the way things are, right? And I've tried as hard as I can to get people to join. I know how valuable it is, but some people just don't have a Facebook. Some people don't want to join, right? And so what we do is we create a private group. Right? And you can see I do the same thing. Start here, right? I give them all the discounts. I get them to subscribe to my to my YouTube, to my Instagram, to message my Facebook page and get them into ManyChat, right? And so you can see that, I'm actually doing the things that I'm teaching you, unlike a lot of, gurus who are just teaching you, how to invest in real estate, but they're not doing it themselves. Or they're teaching you how to invest in crypto, but they're not doing it themselves, right? I'm actually doing all the stuff that I'm teaching you right now because it's the best way to do it, right? And so I have a public group that's closed, but anybody can join, right? Anybody can join it. Like it has 90, close to 100,000 people. And then I have a private group that is only joinable once people purchase my course, right? And so this is a much more family, close-knit group. This is where I'm answering questions every single day, all day long, right? And this is the group that you're going to add your students into. And we're going to show you exactly how to do that in the most efficient way when we get to that point. But I just wanted to introduce the concept now, right? And you can also add, your beta testers, people that you're going to kind of validate your course idea with using the proof of concept technique, which we're going to talk about later on. But your public group and your private group, both very important. The public group is for everyone, right? It's to build attention and to get people interested. The private group is for your students, where you're really helping people and helping everybody one-on-one. Right? And at first, you're going to be helping everyone in both your public and your private group. But as your public group starts to grow and get like super big, it's not humanly possible for me to help 100,000 people one-on-one, right? And so now I focus on my student group. But at first, I was doing both, right? I was helping every single person one-on-one in both groups. So how do you actually get your first Facebook group members? Right? And if you're just going to choose one unscalable strategy to start, this is the strategy that I want you to use, right? But it's also one of the hardest to do. Because what you need to do is you need to find 10 people to do free consultations with. And what I mean by that is 10 people who are interested in selling on Amazon FBA, for example. Right? And the purpose of those 10 free consultations, and they can be done via a 15-minute phone call, they can be done just via Messenger, right? But the purpose is to learn what the real pain that your market has is concerning your particular niche, right? And we're going to be talking about this later on. But there's two types of consultations. There's free consultations that you're just doing via Messenger or like a quick call, right? Where you're just going to gather data and see what people are struggling with, right? What the real market and what real human beings who want to start selling on Amazon are actually having, pain with. And then there's paid consultations, which we're going to talk about in the next chapter, which you use as proof of concept, right? When you're trying to say, okay, is this course actually a good idea, right? If you can get real people to pay for your time, right? A paid consultation, there's no better proof that your course is going to work if people are willing to pay for your one-on-one consultation. So there's free consultations, there's paid consultations. Free consultations are just to see what the pain of the market is, right? What people are struggling with. So you can focus on what to direct your effort on toward teaching people. And then there's paid consultations, which we'll talk about next chapter. And the point of paid consultations is to validate your course idea, right? Proof of concept that your course is going to be an explosive winner. Right? And if you already have an email list with 100 or more subscribers, it's easy. Just send a quick email, right? Offer a free 15-minute consultation, and it's done. Right? If you don't have any subscribers or any members or any Facebook group members or any email, right? What you can do is you can join relevant Facebook groups. And I'm going to show you how to do that right now. So we're going to type in Amazon FBA into the normal search bar here. We're going to go to groups. Now we see all these different groups. Right? So I'm not a member of most of these, but let's take a couple that I am a member of. I'm a member of this one. I'm a member of FBA Today. Right? I'm a member of FBA High Rollers. Right? So what I would do is I would join all of these groups if I was just getting started. Right? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to join all these large active Amazon groups. So this one, you can see has 48,000 members. Right? Huge group. This one has 60,000 members. Right? Massive group. And so what I would do is I would come into these groups and I would reach out to the owner before. And if you want to try to find the owner, all you have to do is come in here and go to members. Right? And once you click members, you can see the admins right here. Right? See all admins and moderators. So we can see that this is an admin. So I would message, the admins probably know the best. And I would message them and I would say, hey, is it okay if I come in and just post some things that I've learned about Amazon, right? No links, just to add value to your members. I just wanted to introduce myself so it didn't seem like I was coming in and spamming your group, right? And they might not answer, they might not see your message because if they have a big group, then they're probably getting a lot of messages, but it's just good etiquette to do that, right? A great group to kind of join to see how people add value the right way is ClickFunnels. This is, one of the most valuable Facebook groups I've ever seen in my life. It's not my group, unfortunately, but 200,000 members. It's massive, and you see people, posting all the time about just what they've learned and things like that, or asking questions or things like that, right? And so I would come in here and just look at what a real, conversation starter is, what they look like, what people are posting that are adding value. You can come in and see all types of stuff here. But just to get kind of back to what we were talking about, right? What you want to do is you want to post value. Be like the 3 best ways to get leads on LinkedIn, right? Or like the 3 top ways that I've figured out to find Amazon FBA products that are going to go on to be successful, right? Kind of coming in and adding value, right? Not linking to anything. If you link to your YouTube or anything like that, you're going to get banned because there's so much spam in these large groups that trying to just self-promote yourself blatantly, right, is not what you want to do. But it's okay if you're adding just completely free value and people are commenting and they're thanking you. And what's going to happen is those people are going to all message you, right? They're going to say, oh my gosh, like that was such a good post, right? Especially if you're adding a lot of value. And if you're adding a ton of value and you're not linking to anything, people will message you. But just trust me when I tell you, don't try to go link to your YouTube or to your website because people will ban you. It's just like, think about it like this. It would be like going inside of someone's house and like standing up on their, kitchen table and like talking about like your business and like running around. It's just rude, right? It's just not what you want to be doing. They have a group just like your group is going to grow. They have to keep it spam free, just like you have to keep it spam free, right? So a lot of people are going to message you if your post adds a lot of value and doesn't get removed, right? And especially if you reach out to the group owner and like made friends with them before, right? And you're not linking to any content, then it's probably not going to get removed. And what's going to happen is people are going to message you. And you can say like, hey, whatever their name is, it's so great that you're interested in Amazon. I'm actually forming a beta group where I'm going to be helping people with Amazon completely for free, right? And I'm just saying Amazon right here, but it's whatever your niche is. If you're interested, let me know and I'll get you added, right? Then ask for their email, start recording people's emails like in a Google spreadsheet or Excel at first, right? Until we kind of have our autoresponder set up, which we're going to talk about in future modules. In future chapters, and start recording all this stuff. Get people into your own Facebook group and start helping them one-on-one. Because remember, if you're thinking to yourself, Kevin, why would they want to join my Facebook group if they're already a member of this group? Because you're going to care more, right? This group, nobody cares. Like nobody cares about these people. This group already has 60,000 people, so people aren't getting one-on-one help, inside of these massive groups like they would if they joined your particular group. Right? So what's the actual kind of like process flow to all this, right? So you're going to post 3 to 5 pieces of content on your Facebook profile, right? Because one of the things is when you start to like message people and when you start to kind of interact with people from Facebook groups, they're going to naturally look at your Facebook profile, right? And so what you want to do is make sure you clean up your own personal Facebook profile, or if you're going to make a business Facebook profile, clean it up, right? Post 3 to 5 pieces of content about Amazon or losing weight or whatever, right? And once you do that, then when people actually check out your profile to make sure that you're actually legit, it just doesn't seem like you're like some random Joe off the side of the road. And when they're actually like deciding whether or not you might be someone suitable to learn from. So post 3 to 5 pieces of content on your profile to prove you're real and you're actually active in the niche. And then block out 1 hour every day in your calendar to actually dedicate to this method, right? What you want to do is you want to dedicate time to actually adding value in these large groups, right? It doesn't always have to be you posting either. Like I could come into these groups right here and I could see, that this person has questions about Amazon women-owned business storefront, right? What do I need to get started? I might answer it, right? And say like, hey, this is the answer, like reach out to me if you have any more questions, happy to help, right? And I would spend an hour a day doing that. Or I might come on to this next question. Is the only way to get someone selling off my listing to go ahead and get a trademark and enroll in brand registry? Have a seller undercutting my price and knocking me out of the buy box, right? And so the answer to this question is, a trademark is the #1 form of protection, but Amazon just recently enforced a rule that actually gives brand owners even more protection where you can manually remove these hijackers without having to contact Amazon, right? So I would say that, and I would say, Corey, I would literally tag him. I would say, I would answer his question and then I would say, reach out to me, Corey Hilton, if you have any other questions. Right? And by tagging him like that, it's going to notify him and he's going to message me. Most of these people are going to message you. That's just the way it is. right? And so if you block out an hour a day to actually just straight up help people in these already large groups and just telling all of them, reach out to you if you have any more questions, you're going to start getting, 5 messages a day, 10 messages a day, 20 messages a day. And when you start to get 20 messages a day and add all of those people to your own Facebook group to help them more, start collecting their emails, right? 20 messages a day might not seem like a lot, but if you do that for 10 straight days, right, that's 200 people who could potentially be course buyers for you, which is super, super important, right? Do things at the beginning that are not scalable. So search for relevant Facebook groups that are relevant to your niche, join and observe them. And then what I like to do, even to take this to the next level, is I like to start adding 40 active contributing group members from those relevant groups per day, and I like to message them. Right? You can't really add more than 40 people on Facebook per day, but look, this guy is active. I would press, command click to open his profile. This person's active. I would command click. This person's active. This person's active. This person's active. And I would come in and I would literally add all of these people as friends, right? I would add him as a friend. I would add her as a friend. I would add him as a friend, and then I would message all of these people and say hey, I saw your question about Amazon, and I would literally answer their question via message and say let me know if you have any other questions, happy to help. And if you add 40 people as a friend, right, what's going to happen is 50% of the people probably won't see it. 50% of the people are going to accept it and they're going to respond to your message, right? And if you add 40 people, that's 20 people a day. And if you do that for 10 straight days, right, that's 200 people. If you do it for 100 straight days, that's 2,000 people, right? And your group's going to start growing organically if you actually do this, right? And don't think to yourself, oh, but Kevin, I wouldn't like it if some random person added me on Facebook, right? Remember, most people are not like you and me. Most people are grateful that you answered their question, and they're grateful that you're willing to help them, and they're going to ask you 100 more questions, and that's a good thing, right? That's okay. And the worst case scenario is they're just not going to respond, or they're going to say, please don't message me, and you say, okay, sorry to bother you, and you move on, and that's going to be 0.00001% of people, right? Don't ever live your life based on fear. And so then the next thing you're going to do is you're going to ask them, what else are they struggling with? What else are they struggling with Amazon? And you're going to try to advance the conversation towards a 15-minute chat, or you can just literally continue it just via chat. You can just say, what else are you struggling with Amazon? What are your number one concerns? And they might say, oh, well, finding a product is really hard for me. Or they might say, I can't find the answer to the question about whether or not I can sell on Amazon from other countries. And all of this data that you're accumulating is so wildly valuable, right? And then you just continue to post valuable content and personal updates on your own Facebook profile and inside of your group, right? And then the last thing that you want to make sure you do from, this attractive Dominican gentleman right here who happens to be one of my best friends, you want to make it super clear on your Facebook profile what you do, right? So let's look at my Facebook profile really quick, and we can look at his as an example too, because you're going to make posts every day and you're going to be messaging people, and people are going to be looking at your Facebook profile to see if you're actually legit before they choose to respond, right? And so, he can see right here in the intro, it says, I help your brand and business reach millions of people on Instagram, done it 69 times already. Right? Which is awesome. And then he has his website right here. I have breaker of 9 to 5 chains, 10,000 plus students ready to join the movement. Join my free training below. And mine is a little different because I have multiple different courses on different things. But starting out, right, this would have said, the Amazon FBA guy, have freed, countless of my students from 9 to 5 jobs, earned millions of dollars selling on Amazon FBA, ask me anything, right? But it's changed because I have multiple different programs now and 10,000 plus students from around the world. And so really, if you have any questions on how to set up your intro, you can click right here. But it's very easy, right? Just come to your Facebook profile and click this little button to edit it and press save. It's very, very simple to do. And you want to make sure that you do it, right? Look presentable. Look like somebody that you would want to learn from, right? Whatever your niche is. If you're teaching Amazon, then look like somebody who would be able to teach Amazon. Make it super clear in your intro that you're an Amazon teacher, right? Do logical stuff like this. It's going to start stacking up and becoming very, very valuable to you quicker than you might think. And as you start joining groups, right, Facebook's going to show groups that are similar to this, right? Try to figure out who the influencers are, who the decision makers are, right? Who the respected members of the groups are, and you can figure that out, and they're going to be able to help you later on, right? And so now that you're in the Facebook groups, you want to see what people are saying. You want to, look inside of the Facebook group. So we can go inside FBA Ninjas here. I mean, you can see like what are the common questions. Like this person's asking about Alibaba. This person's asking about the best automated email service. Or how much money do I need to start selling on Amazon FBA? Probably one of the single most commonly asked questions that I've ever gotten. So observe, right? Start to take notes. See how many times these things are being asked. Get ideas for your own content, right? If everybody's asking how much money do I need to get started on Amazon, maybe it's a good idea to have one of the posts in your group say, the perfect amount of money to get started on Amazon is, right? You know what I mean? This stuff's all connected. So I think you're probably getting how, this stuff works and you're starting to get excited about it like I am, right? Because it's all very connected, right? And synergistic. And you want to start small, simple, and organic, and you want to start, by joining Facebook groups and posting content on your Facebook and LinkedIn, growing your friend connection list, right? Direct messaging 40 people a day that you're adding, building relationships, setting up free consultation calls, or just doing free consultations via Messenger, right? To figure out what the real pain and what the real desires are in your niche. And Facebook's way more important than LinkedIn. I just include LinkedIn just because, if you're teaching like accounting companies how to do digital marketing, it might be easier to find accountants on LinkedIn, but Facebook is where you should devote 90% or more of your actual attention. And again, you want to start with organic ways of getting leads just because it's free. You can start it immediately, right? You don't have to go wait and try to do all the paid stuff. So start with organic. Just trust me here, right? So adding group members as friends, building your initial following. So this is the same thing, right? Adding people as friends, sending them messages, adding them to your group. Most people find it awesome. So don't think that, just because you personally might be annoyed by it, other people will. I've had literally thousands of people that have said, thanks for the ad, right? And if they don't want to, they'll leave, right? And there's no harm done. Or if they don't want you to message them, they won't respond. No harm done. Right? And so I like to target people who are asking intelligent questions in these groups to add. Again, don't add more than 40 people a day, 40 people in 24 hours, or Facebook could get mad at you. And just do this daily, right? Don't just do this one time. Set an alarm in your phone right now and do this once a day. Add 40 people who are active, commenting, right, in these groups. Add 40 people, send them all the same message once a day, right? Because remember, this is a marathon. It's not a sprint. And even if you're getting less than a 50% response rate, right? If you are getting less than 50%, it means that your profile is probably not professional enough, or it isn't appealing enough to your particular niche, right? And so when you're initially reaching out to these group members, a message that I might like to say is like, hey, I saw you're an accountant. I wanted to reach out, right? I'm Kevin, and I help accountants get more clients via digital marketing. I was wondering if I might be able to add value to you, right? Like if, for example, if you had like a course on how to do digital marketing for accountants, right? And when you direct message people on Facebook, you're going to get 50% of the people are going to reply, right? So if you add 40 people a day, that's 20 will accept and read your messages. If you message all 20, right, maybe 50% of those people are going to reply. The 10 who do reply, right, you can continue on the conversation, get them added into your group, and these things are going to stack up, and they're going to become very, very meaningful in a very, very short amount of time, right? And this all starts small just by you telling people to post in the group when they have success, right? And, sometimes if people tell me on Facebook that they just got a client, or they helped, lose, or they lost some weight because of what I taught, sometimes they're not going to post about it in your group because they're shy or they're busy. I'll literally take a screenshot of the message that I got from that person and I'll post it in the Facebook group, right? And it gets people pumped up, it gets everybody kind of ready to make some serious noise and really start to commit to themselves. And that's what you want, right? The family vibe. You want everyone to buy in, right? And remember, it's not bragging, it's motivation for other members to actually get in gear and do this, right? Because people are looking for feedback. People are constantly trying to evaluate what's the best use of their time, right? And the best way to show them that your stuff works is to show results of your other students, right? And it's your job to basically do two things. You want to document and observe. You're trying to figure out what the confusing things are, what the problem points are, and then you cover that confusion and you make posts about that confusion to try to be one step ahead of what your customers want, right? And so your customers have all these fears and these internal things, and you're making content literally squashing those fears before they even vocally actually say them, right? And if just one person's having the problem, it might not mean it's a problem for everyone. But if a few people are stumbling, maybe that doesn't mean it's a problem either. But if it's happening again and again and again, then that probably means it's something that a lot of people have confusion about, and it's something that you should make a post about. And remember, this is a sequential process, right? Read through this module, understand it, read through it again, implement it one step at a time. And ODAT, I love this right here, one day at a time, right? One day at a time. The point of this section is to learn about the real market's pain and desires, right? What are real people out there who have real lives, real families, real problems, right? What are their pains? What are their desires? Start to get a real good understanding of what that is and start building your communication platform, right? Where your niche communicates. When you own the communication platform and the communication medium, right? It's incredibly, incredibly valuable because you control what people are talking about and what people are looking at and where the attention is. Right? And when you start to build your public group and you start to build your private group with your beta testers and with your, with all of your new course buyers, that's when things really start to really blow up. And so when your Facebook group is finished, right, post it in the DCS family group. We want to join your group, right? We want to be involved. We want to be your first members, right? Because what happens is, like if I join your group or other members of DCS join your group, we're going to like your posts. We're going to comment on your posts. And people want to help each other, right? And if people join your group and they add engagement and they communicate in your group and they like things and they comment and they participate, do the same thing for them. Right? Get our community to be your first members if they're interested, because our initial adoption and participation helps kind of get rid of that initial crickets that all groups have, right? And when nobody wants to be the first person to communicate and to comment and to post inside of a group. And so if you get the DCS family in there, we can give you a little kickstart, right? Don't rely on DCS. Remember, rely on adding 40 targeted people per day, but we can help you get that little push, right? That is so important to kind of get started. So I know that was kind of a long one, guys, but it's incredibly important to control the Facebook community, to control where your niche communicates, and to control the communication medium. So I hope you guys enjoyed this one, and let's get to the next.